Tommy Fleming, the voice of Ireland, makes a welcome return to the UK. He's in London on Saturday, 30th of March at the Union Chapel, Islington. Website is www.unionchapel.org.uk, and then on Friday, 5th of April, plays the Royal Concert Hall in Glasgow. Now, their website is glasgowconcerthall.com. Took the opportunity to catch up with Tommy on news since his last guest visit. Tommy, great to speak to you once again.
You too, Jerry. How's things? Hope everything is well.
Tommy, we've often discussed your love of touring. Now, more about that later. However, you took time out last autumn to record a TV special in Galway Cathedral. Now, I believe that was on a grand scale.
I suppose it was. I never really kind of look at things in that sense. It's my 5th TV special. We did it for PBS in America and SBS in Australia. So I had left it for a good few years before I had done one. So I just said, this is time to do one. And what's great about it is when you do them, they work they double up as kind of the TV show, and then you get the album from it. It's the live album. And we're so happy because the album has remained in the top 10 for the last 18 weeks, which is phenomenal for us, thank God, you know.
Wow, that's quite some achievement, particularly in this day and age.
Well, this day and age, with the way albums are and with the way, downloads and etc. And, I suppose we work hard at it. We make sure that we've got the product right. We make sure that we're basically that we're putting out the right product, and that we're enjoying the product as much as possible that we're putting out, which gives it the public kind of appeal as well,
Indeed. Now, clearly the Cathedral lent itself to a full band, orchestra and choir, whereas the set-up in the Union Chapel will be a contrast. Now, your set worked very well last year. Can you recap on that for us?
Well, the one we did in Union Chapel last year was we brought in piano, guitar and strings. So it lends itself, because it's a working chapel, it really kind of lends itself to that kind of gig. So I suppose when it's TV, you can't scrimp and you can't scrape, as to say. But you can't also bring that on the road. That's impossible logistically and financially. It would be impossible to bring. So we recreate it as close as possible that we can get with kind of the string sounds and the musicians that work with me, whom have worked with me for going on 20 years now at this point.
Wow. Now, many of the songs which went down well at the Cathedral and with the TV audience are very portable, and no doubt you'll reprise them in Union Chapel.
Absolutely. I mean, the songs some songs that I'd done there I hadn't sang in years, since from very early on in my career. So I'm kind of reprising a lot of the stuff that we did on Voice of Hope too, which was the name of the show. So we're doing stuff like World in Union, From Now On, From the Greatest Showman, Hard Times, of course, the old staples that I've been known for the last 29 years, which is hard to believe my career is that long. And, there's new songs in there that I haven't, I remember learning Roll Back the Clouds that I got from Christy Hennessy many years ago, the great Christy Hennessy. And I never recorded it because I always thought Christy's version was the definitive version and the real version. Whereas I only now kind of looked at it and said, let's do it. It's time we did it, So there's some great songs and some great... it just crosses the borders, It crosses many appeals.
Right. Now, you've been in the entertainment business for almost 30 years. Now, in addition to singing, you've done some drama. Before going solo, you were with Donnan, as was Mary Black. But while Mary is appearing for one night only in May at the O2 Shepherd's Bush, you show no signs of slowing down, and you're touring Australia, New Zealand and the US. I'm touring...
it's not that I'm slowing down, I suppose. It seems to get busier as I'm getting older, which is either a good complaint or a bad one. I can never figure out. The tours come when I release an album. It's always busier. That year is always the busy one because everybody wants you to tour at that point. So I'm kind of getting it out of the way at this stage, and I have promised the family and myself that I'm going to slow down next year and kind of just handpick the tours that I'm going to do.
Right. Now, when we spoke last, you were very much committed to building up an audience base here in the UK, and you have plans for that in 220, I believe.
I'm doing a tour. I'm doing a full tour in 220 in March 220. So it's going from from Glasgow all the way through the UK, finishing up in London. We haven't decided on the venue yet in London. I would love to do Union Chapel again. I love it. I just think it's, but availabilities, of course, dictate where we go. But so we're looking at doing, it's something like a 15-day tour, and we're going to really kind of work hard to kind of get that. It's about time, I suppose, Jerry. I always say that I did it because, as close as the UK is to me, the problem is I end up touring the US and I end up touring, in other territories, as we call it, and I never get chance to get into the UK. By the time I've done all the others, it's kind of the year has ended, and then we haven't fitted in the UK. So it's always great, to kind of get into the UK and do some dates and build the audience.
Now, what motivates you to keep touring and keep evolving with the shows?
I don't know if there's any motivation. I think, if I'm honest, it's the love of it. And anyone that knows me very well would know that money doesn't drive me at all. It never did. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have some and it's nice to be able to pay your bills. However, it's not my be-all and end-all. What motivates me is the love of music, having the show right, the effect that the songs has on people, the effect that the songs have on me. I love music, and I think music is very much a universal language in all shapes, and hence the reason I'm able to tour in places like Australia, like China, like Japan. It speaks its own language, and it speaks a great language. That's what motivates me. That's really the audience reaction always motivates me, and always did. And I love to see the effect that the music has on people. I really do. I love that.
All right, and it's then you return to Inniscrone, County Sligo, home of the Wild Atlantic Way, and a place to recharge the batteries.
Well, it's as I call it, my piece of heaven, and I've great childhood memories from here. From my parents used to come down in the summer when we'd be off school. And we'd all be in a caravan. How the 8 of us fitted in a caravan is beyond me. But I remember we were never in it, you see. We were always out playing with all the other kids. And if we weren't in our caravan, we were in somebody else's having our dinner, or vice versa. I always remember a caravan load of kids in all over the place. So I grew up really around here. And so when the opportunity came to move here, it just was my heaven. And I love it. It's, every morning I go for my 10k run on a beach. That's exactly 10k. And, you lose yourself. You lose yourself in nature. You lose yourself in weather. You lose yourself looking at the ocean. You just lose yourself. And it's a wonderful place to be.
Excellent. Now, The Voice of Hope 2, recorded at Galway Cathedral last year, is available on DVD. Tommy, you're back at Union Chapel, as we mentioned, for the second year running. How would you describe briefly the venue from the point of view of an artist?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's the first thing I will say is wow. Every time I play Union Chapel, I love it. Yes, it's a working chapel, but the acoustics are amazing. The setting is amazing. It's got a great, I suppose it's got a great reputation, number one. But I just love it from the minute I step on that stage. I love it,
Excellent. Now, this the atmosphere at this landmark venue it's always fantastic, and it's still a working church and drop-in centre for the homeless. Now, after Union Chapel, you're in Glasgow. Details are Saturday, 30th of March, Union Chapel, Islington, unionchapel.org.uk. Friday, 5th of April, glasgowconcerthalls.com. And you can also see details on irishradio.org. Thanks a million for giving us a preview on what's to come for you, Tommy. It's lovely to speak to you once again.
You too, Jerry. Listen, always thanks for the support, and to the listeners for the continued support that they've given me over the years. Honestly, it's quite overwhelming at times, and really, really rewarding for me.